welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness, the highest levels of love light. I just want to go into a little flow. So let's flow. Before I do that, really quick energy update. So welcome. I've been writing a lot, and in a nutshell, really coordinating with some of my dear sisters, and it's been amazing the insight that they have provided me with. So I just want to say thank you. You know who you are, and I'll be doing some other collaborations here. I'm hoping very soon with these sisters, because when we come together and we work together and we talk about some of the things we're seeing and feeling, we really give more insight to each other. We give each other validation, which is not necessarily something that we need, but the ego likes it, right? But it is kind of like, oh, that's where I was going with that. So I am so grateful for my soul brothers and sisters for sharing and connecting with me in that way, because a lot of the information I receive and I write about is code. And it's multidimensional, multi-layered. And I have some friends that dream their information. I have some that channel their information. I have some that automatic write. I have some that paint, and they're artists, and others who just are in flow and they just see it. And, you know, my dear friend, for example, Kat, who's a heart math coach, she and I have just been playing with a lot of the words that I've been using. My friend Sid has been sharing stuff. She'll say, oh, this is what that looked like to me. And sometimes I'll get comments from you guys, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that before. So we really are all working together in our communication. And part of what I do on these channels is I bring through many different codes and styles of communication in written, speaking, song, sound, same thing, format, that provide a frequency, activation, remembrance, shift in our overall chemistry and DNA. And that's what I do. I really don't have a name for that other than a quantum communicator, I guess. But quantum communicator, multidimensional multitasker. There we go. I'll have to put that on my website. But having said that, I'm so grateful, because sometimes I get locked into my head. And this is a little bit about what this message is going to be about. I posted, or I'm about to post, this poem that I had thought of this morning about getting out of the heart and into the head, and getting out of our head. And oftentimes we have this tunnel vision of ourselves. We have a tunnel view of what options we have in front of us. We have a tunnel view perspective on things we've done in our past or haven't done. And oftentimes when we connect with other light workers in session, or even when we do body work, we get a massage, or we have somebody work on us through cranial sacral, or we have an intuitive reading, whatever it might be, that other person draws that out or assists us in drawing that out and showing us a new map, a new schematic, a broadband spectrum rather than just one color. And that's what I do. And that's what we all do to a certain extent for each other. I mean, how nice is it when you have one person mention one word that changes your whole day? And you're like, wow, I didn't even think about things that way. It's fun. So one of the messages that's been coming through is create, dance, be that inner child. This is a message that's been coming through, will always be the top message, the top dog, so to speak. The other message that came through was, a lot of people are going through physical upgrades still. Be patient, be kind to one another, be kind with ourselves. We are being blasted sometimes by technology, by propaganda, by people who are really sleepwalking, right? They just don't realize that they're being corralled into behaving in a certain way. And so those of us that know, right, we make these choices. And so we're being invited, the word play that I had was take the reins. We're taking our reign back. We're allowing the rains, the water to cleanse and wash through us, right? The golden waterfall, the luminescent waterfall, whatever you want to visualize, clearing all that energy, that dust and stagnation. Dust has been a key word, by the way, too. If you guys haven't seen, what's that show? His Dark Materials and the Golden Compass. It's all code. Those stories in Harry Potter, it was all written in code. Lord of the Rings. Anyways, so that's all fun stuff we can watch, but the reins, we are taking the reins back, and as we allow that to kind of cleanse and purify through us, we are not reined in to these old stories and old programs. I was shown someone drawing a horse and carriage, and the message was, I'm hearing horse and carrot, which of course reminds me of Andrew Bartzis, which is the carrot and stick revocation. I invite you guys to check that out on andrewbartzis.com. The Galactic Historian, he has a whole carrot and stick revocation. I have read his revocations for years, by the way, just to throw that out there. They're long. I recommend in session that people read them. Not everybody, but for a lot of people that I've worked with, I've said, have you checked? And sometimes I'll feel that there's one in particular that a person may need more so than the other ones. But I like the carrot and stick one because it's long and it kind of covers all your bases. All right, so I'm seeing this basically, the reins. We're taking the reins back, and that means the ruling, right? If we're thinking of the crown, that's a whole other video, which I'll be doing this week. But we are wearing the crown, right? Which connects us to source, not plugging in and being pulled into 20 different other ships, other rulerships, other directors, trying to direct us to watch this, do that, say this, eat this, react to this. Propaganda, right? And then also, I was seeing a reference to the solar crown. So there's a lot of things going on with the sun, the solar heart activations, the higher heart. We may be experiencing headaches, and also discernment. My dear friend, Kat, was helping me break that down this morning, and I'm like, this is all the things I wrote. And she said, how about play with this? And I just went, ah, right? It basically, we're breaking old mechanics down. We're breaking old machinery down. We're breaking down the old crown, the old rulership. That's what's going on. And the dismantling is occurring within us as I'm hearing starseed connection. And by the way, I kind of want to change my site to starflowers, because we're not seeds anymore. We're not star seeds. We might be sprinkling seeds of our light, but we're flowers now. We have flowered. And so I'm being told time and time again by my guides, step up, be the flower. And what is a flower? It's beautiful, it's present, it's joyous, it's celebrating with earth, it's delighting in the senses, it's colorful, it holds energy. I mean, this is who we are. We're walking flowers. Some people refer to it as the flower of life, and I want to talk a little bit about that, because there is a community that says the flower of life was usurped. From my perspective, everything that I'm sharing, there's different layers of realities. There's different dimensional access points. There's different densities. And from one perspective, that may be true, but from another perspective, we've moved past that. We are essentially changing times tables, mathematics. Guys, I'm just in flow, so I'm going here. We are multiplying our numbers, not by how many we are, but by how many we are. Plan words, right? So how are we behaving? How are we interacting with one another? We are spreading this charge, right? Our pollen from our flowers are the seeds, and we are pollinating with our heart frequency, okay? And essentially this is activating our numbers, are expanding. So it's not just about how many of us, it's about us. We're holding that frequency and vibration in that space for those who cannot see yet, or may not ever be able to see with clarity. And that's irrelevant. The message that keeps coming through is it doesn't matter. And that's a play on words, M-A-T-T-R. It's not real. That's our perception. So what are we making matter? What are we making real in our reality? What are we subjecting ourselves to? What is the subject of our attention and awareness? Are we treating others like subjects? Are we objectifying things that are, I'm seeing this rulership. Are we objectifying? Are we putting up on a throne celebrities, royalty, world leaders, and not recognizing that we're all one? Granted, maybe not everybody's behaving that way, and they haven't quite stepped up to their leadership potential or operating from their highest expression of love light, because they may not be there yet, but we are. So we're being invited to behave that way. And as I say behave, it's beehive, right? The bees do not swarm unless they're working together. They have to do it as a unit. And so this energy we're creating is a beehive. It's a connection through this shape and this nectar of life, which, by the way, the message is our cerebellum has been activated in many. We're recognizing the brain is kind of lighting up. We might be having headaches. From a lower perspective, and this isn't set out of judgment, the headaches are being intensified because we're being blasted with energies to try to bring us back into the hive mind. Not the beehive, because we all know bees are higher dimensional and they're beautiful and they were working for the greater good of all. I'm talking the usurped hive mind that is trying to get people to be subservient and not be in their own sovereignty. We all know what that means, and I'm not going to play there, because from that perspective, the energy and frequency around that is desperate for our energy. So what happens is we're being blasted with technology, but these old systems, we're being invited to use discernment. Thanks, Kat, on that one. Discernment to basically take apart, discern mechanisms, use our own energy that we have earned, because we don't need to earn the right, because it's our birthright to be in this unity and oneness and love light. So what's happening is that's being dismantled. It's being pieced and pulled apart by us. And it cannot hold us in these old patterns anymore if we continually be the flower, if we continually make the right choice. And I'm seeing right angles, using our own discernment also means not just listening to something and saying, I agree with that because I like the way that person looks or that person. And we don't even realize we're doing that sometimes, by the way. Those are some of the people who have given their power away. They aren't using their own creativity. They're not using their own logic. And when I say logic, it's not logical, meaning the old form of logic. Well, you have to believe this because this is science. That's old. Everything is connected. Science is spirituality, is human form, is galactic, is cosmic, is universal, is all of the isness. There is no separation, right? That isn't real. So again, we're really being invited to, so to go backwards to that, this is part of us growing and expanding, growing pains, right, sometimes. So some of these old technologies, whether it be AI or power systems, they're trying desperately to power back up, but they're they're not quite able to get it. So we might be getting blasted from time to time, but what we're starting to feel and realize is it's not working as long as it used to. Before, we might have felt it for days or months or gotten really sick, where many of us are shaking it off and we're just like, I'm fine, actually. Or we automatically are able to rebound. I was shown the rebounder and the coil, like boing, boing. We bounce back a lot more easily and readily than we used to, because we've worked through so much. We've come through the other end, even though it's not painted on the green screen to look that way. And a lot of the information I've gotten has been that green screen, the veil, right, is being lifted, of course.